Good morning or good afternoon, Tigers. Today we'll be watching a video on Quizzette 719. Please make sure to write your last name, comma, first name. Today's date is January 10th, 2018. I know sometimes when you write the date in January, you write last year's date, so make sure you put 18 at the top. And today I'm going to say that I'm in blue class. All right, so this Quizzette is a review of the units that we finished before winter break. Some of it might be a little fuzzy, but once you see me solve it, I think it'll all come together and it'll make sense to you. All right, number one is a one-step equation. And the way you know that it's a one-step equation is it does not have a coefficient in front of the variable. So if you remember, x is the variable. And since there's no number or coefficient on the variable, this equation is considered a one-step equation. Also, there's an equal sign, so that's how we know it's an equation. If it didn't have an equal sign and it just had addition and subtraction, that would be considered an expression. So here, since it's a one-step equation, I just have to do one step, and my one step is to undo addition. So the way I undo addition is I do the opposite. The opposite of addition is subtraction, so I'm going to subtract 9 from both sides. On the left, I only have x equals 18 minus 9 is 9. So x is equal to 9. You can check this by plugging it into the original equation. So you can write the word check. And now you have x plus 9 equals 18. But you found x to be 9. So now I'm going to substitute it. 9 plus 9 equals 18. Oh, and remember when we're checking, you put a question mark on top of the equal sign. 9 plus 9 is 18. Is 18 equal to 18? Yes. So your solution, x equals 9, is correct. So, yay. Let's look at number 2. Number 2 has a coefficient in front of the variable. The variable is b. The number in front of it is -3. Remember, that's called the coefficient. So this I know is a two-step equation. The first step in solving an equation is to undo addition or subtraction. So here I have -4. That's subtraction. What is the opposite of -4? +4. So I'm going to add 4 to both sides. What I do on one side, I do to the other. Now on the left, I have -3b, and on the right, I have 11 plus 4, and 11 plus 4 is 15. Now I have my second step. My second step is to undo multiplication or division. So I have -3b. -3 is being multiplied right there. So I need to divide it because that's the opposite of multiplication. And what I do on one side, I do to the other. -3 divided by -3 is 1. But I'm not going to write 1b. I'm just going to write b. I'm going to write it on the side because I ran out of room. -3 divided into 15 is going to be -5. Remember, a positive divided by a negative is negative. You guys have math notes on that. So now I have b is equal to -5. I'm not going to make you check the two-step equation because that's going to get a little messy and you do not have enough room here. Now the SMP that I'm mainly using here is SMP 6, which is a 10 to precision. I wrote it beneath the line because I didn't have room on top. All right, let's look at number 3. Number 3 says, find the sum equivalent to -5 times the quantity 2g plus 1. This right here is recalling a very important property that we learned. That property was called the distributive property, and you have notes on this. So if you don't remember, just take out your math notebook and look at it. So here we have a negative coefficient that is being multiplied or distributed to everything inside the parentheses. -5 times 2g is -10g. Now -5 times 1 is -5. Now you could still keep the addition between them, or you can change it to -10g minus 5. Those are equivalent. These two. Okay, number 4. It says add 3x plus 2 plus 6x plus 4. So there is addition between these expressions. So I do not have to distribute. I mean, I can, but nothing changes. What's a +1 times 6x? 6x. What's a positive 1 times 4 plus 4? Do you see how 6x plus 4 doesn't change? So when you see parentheses and a positive or a plus right outside of it, it's just a positive 1. So you don't have to change anything. Now, if you had a minus 1, that's when things would change. But in this case, we don't have that. Okay. Now I have 3x plus 2. That doesn't change either. Now I can combine like terms. So combine your x boxes with your x boxes and your money with your money. Or your circles with your circles and your squares with your squares. So here I have 3x plus 6x. That is a total of 9x. And here I have 2 plus 4, and that's 6. And they're all adding. So my expression is 9x plus 6. Now the SMP that I'm doing here is I'm making use of structure. I am looking for patterns. I'm attending to precision. I'm persevering through problem solving. You can number it and put the quote right there at the bottom. Now, number 5. This is the one that is loaded. This is a 2-step inequality. So this is considered a 2-step inequality. And the reason it's considered a 2-step inequality is because there's a coefficient in front of the variable. The coefficient here is negative 1, so it's invisible. So I'm going to write negative 1 x plus 6, and that is less than or equal to. So remember, less is written like that. So we have negative x plus 6 is less than or equal to 10. You have to solve it and you have to graph it. So my first step is to undo addition or subtraction. Here I have plus 6, so I have to do the opposite of addition, and I subtract 6 from both sides. Now I have negative x is left. It's less than or equal to 10 minus 6 is 4. Now my second step is to undo multiplication or division. Remember I told you this is a negative 1x. Negative 1 is being multiplied to x. So what's the opposite of multiplying by negative 1? Dividing by negative 1. And what I do on one side, I do to the other. Negative 1 divided by negative 1. Remember, a negative divided by a negative is positive. So this right here, negative 1 divided by a negative 1 is positive 1. But I'm not going to write positive 1x. I'm going to write just x is less than or equal to, oh wait, remember I taught you guys something right before you went off a break? If you divide or multiply by a negative number, the inequality flips. So instead of this being less than or equal to, it flips into greater than or equal to. And then 4 divided by negative 1 is negative 4. So this is my answer. Now I'm going to graph it. So here's my graph. I have 0, I have negative 4, and then I have 4. Oops! I made a huge mistake. I think you guys all see it. This is positive 4 and this is negative 4. So I'm going to plot negative 4. And is it going to be an open circle or a closed circle? Remember, when there is an equal sign on the inequality, the circle is included. I can put negative 4 inside of x. So I can say negative 4 is greater than or equal to negative 4. Is that true? Yes, because it's equal and it has that equal sign. So this is shaded in. So I'm going to shade that in. Now, am I going to shade to the right or to the left? Let's draw my arrow. What direction is the arrow pointing? To the right or to the left? To the right. So I'm going to shade everything to the right. And that's the graph. Now I want you guys to pay attention to the other questions that you guys have this week. So the other questions, for this one, number 5, on Tuesday, you don't have to worry about flipping the inequality because there's no negative coefficient. Now let's look at the others. Look at number 4 on Tuesday. Number 4 on Tuesday, you have to be careful because there's a negative right here. So you have to distribute that negative. That negative changes everything inside. So instead of that being positive 4x, that's going to be negative 4x. And a negative times a negative 5, it's going to be a positive 5. This doesn't change. So now you have 2x plus 7 minus 4x plus 5. Now when you combine them, you have to keep in mind that your 4 is negative and your 5 is positive. I think that's it. Good luck on this Quizzette. If you have any questions, make sure you reference your math notebook. Otherwise, raise your hand and wait for me to come and help you.